Oh yeah. Are we live? Is it working? Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, my beautiful beloved creators. Happy Monday. How are you? How's everything going? Get cozy, get your favorite drink, and let's hunker down, snuggle in. Say hello when you jump on. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am Dr.Keri, and this is where we come together to lift our vibrations, align with our highest and best selves, and create our ideal realities. So I've got my old favorite. Good morning. How are you? It's good to see you. I've got my favorite creme brulee mushroom coffee in my self-stirring mug. Is it stirring today? I went back to my old faithful microphone on the camera since last week. I had technical issues. I got a new camera, a new microphone set last week, and for some reason I couldn't figure out how to get it to work. So this week I'm not even going to bother with it. We'll deal with that another time. So I am doing great. Thank you so much for asking. So glad that you are here. How's everything going with your job and everything? I think we established that I can call you Danielle because that's what your friends call you. But it's also Ladiem, right? Danielle, Ladiem. So thank you so much for being here. Let me know how things are going with you. I have a sort of a similar process to what I've been teaching you before. This time I'm actually going to explain it the way Dr. Hawkins explains it. Last week I challenged myself to read 5 books in 5 weeks. The first one I chose was Letting Go by Dr. Hawkins, and I can highly, highly, highly recommend it. It basically, what each chapter explains emotions, and I know that sounds kind of like, what do you mean explains emotions? But he details and describes how when we block our emotions, when we don't deal with our emotions, when we repress our emotions, you know, the physical attributes that can cause, whether it's body ailments, physical ailments, or even lifestyle ailments. And he goes in to describe each of those. It's very interesting. And he explains how just by doing this letting go process, you can actually get yourself back in alignment, which goes right along with what I'm trying to, which was what I tell you guys about how, you know, we want to focus on what we want and not what we don't want. And another way of saying that is you want to feel good. You don't want to feel bad. That's how you know the difference. Are you focusing on what you want? You should feel good. You should feel happy. It should feel exciting and exhilarating and wonderful. And if you're feeling anything besides that, it's because you're focusing on, you're trapped, you're stuck, you have limiting beliefs, negative emotions, or lower vibrations. Now, the whole point of letting go is to just not, yeah. I'm okay with the thing. I figure out there's emotion rise, decide to go, not, and fight it. Exactly. The whole point of Dr. Hawkins' theory of letting go is don't fight the emotion. Don't, just sit with it. Just hold it. Just acknowledge it. So I kind of mentioned something like this a few weeks ago if you've been following me. It's it's a, any emotions that we have are like a crying baby. So you can't ignore a crying baby. They're just going to get louder, right? So if you have an ache, a pain, an emotion, a broken heart, something that happened in your childhood, something that happens in your parents' childhood, because a lot of the stuff that we feel we've inherited it, or we resonate with it, meaning when we're young, I mean, as like young being during our conception, during our gestation, during, the times that we're in the womb, born, newborn, up until the age of about 5 or 6, if something happens in our family or the dominant adults around us, or even our siblings, so the dominant emotions around us, if something happens, it's like ringing the bell, right? So there's the gong, and then that resonance stays with us. Does that make sense? So if there was a tragedy or a trauma or just something that you thought was a tragedy or trauma, that can stick with you. And so now that the resonance of that is affecting your life. So here you are trying to get a better job, get the promotion, start your own business, find the lover, start the family, get the better house, all that kind of stuff. Everything, the ideal reality that we're working towards, but we just can't get there. There's something keeping us here from getting there. And usually that's the anchor tied around us of us holding on to these trapped emotions or beliefs that no longer serve us. So we use the process of letting go just by saying, okay, where am I right now? Or how do I feel about this topic? So for example, I'm working on manifesting a bigger house. And I want a pool, and I want a balcony, and I want a 3-car garage, so I have it detailed about, what I need and when I want it and all this kind of stuff. So last night I was working on the process of letting go. And it was like, okay, so when setting that intention, one of the things that we do that keeps what we want away is, it's the example of, you go plant a seed, and then every day you dig up the seed to see if it's sprouted yet, right? So you're disrupting the seed's process because every day you're digging it back up. How are you doing? How are you doing? How are you doing? So when we've set our intention and set the goal of manifesting something, and yet we keep going, where is it? Where is it? Why isn't it here yet? How come it hasn't happened? Or what do I need to do? What am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong is a big one. I got caught in that for years. I'm like, I'm doing everything right, but it's not working. So therefore, I must be doing something wrong. And that's not true. The truth is, I kept focusing on thinking I was doing something wrong rather than understanding and knowing and believing that I was doing everything right. I just kept, digging out the seed, checking on the seed. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? So, yeah, so you let go and you feel so much better. Lottie M is sharing with me. Thank you so much. So yeah, so then you just sit with it and you're like, okay, well, how do I feel about that topic? And then you just sort of say, there's like this, a little emotion in the back of the head, or sometimes they're loud, right? But sometimes you're like, I feel sick about this. I feel upset. I feel angry. I feel scared. I feel this. But if it's something that, so whatever emotion it is that comes out, you just hold it. And then you kind of try to pinpoint it where it is in the body. And that's a step that I take. Dr. Hawkins doesn't really say anything too much about that, because what he wants you to do, what he suggests or whatever, is this is an all-day process. you know, as I always tell you guys, we are manifesting every minute of every second of every day, right? And so you walk in your, start your morning out and you stub your toe, you know, where do you go with that? Do you say, you know, obviously you hurt your toe, so you get through that aspect, but then you say, you know, I always kick my toe, this is gonna ruin the rest of my day, this is, you know, I don't need this right now, or I don't have time for this. So it's like, where do you go when you do something like that? What's the first thoughts that come to your head? What's the first emotions that come out? So the same thing as you go through your day, you have a wonderful breakfast with your family, everybody's in a good mood, and you know, great. So follow along with that. But then you get in the car and now you're stuck in traffic. Where do you go? You say, I shouldn't have spent all that time with my family, or you know, I knew I'd get stuck in traffic, or I should have got up early. You know, where do you go? Is there blame? Is there anger? Is there frustration? Is there whatever? That's the emotion that you actually want to sit with. And then you'll start peeling the layers back. So you're not trying to move the emotion, you're not really trying to move the energy, but just by focusing on it, the energy will move. Does that make sense? As soon as you try to do something, you're messing it up because you're getting in the way of the natural flow. So you don't want to try to, you know, make it move its course. You just want to sit with it, acknowledge it, appreciate it, value it, and then, you know, so, like, I've had different sensations, but for me, sometimes I just feel them floating all the way up, you know. It's like a lot of times it's my stomach that's upset, and so then I'll just feel it like a balloon just kind of floating all the way up, and then all of a sudden it's gone. But then something else will come up, and it's like, oh, well, underneath the fear, there was some, you know, irritation or anger that I didn't know I had. So then I just sit with it and just, oh, wow, I didn't know that was there. Thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up. And then sure enough, it'll just float away, or what, you know, without trying to move it. Because as soon as you try to move it, as soon as you try to interfere with it, it's not gonna, you can stifle its resolution. Does that make sense? So you just want to follow the feeling, let it be at peace. I mean, ultimately that's what'll happen when it floats away. You'll find peace, and if there's not peace underneath it, go through each layer until you find peace. And more often than not, sometimes I didn't, but more often than not, a memory would come up. And it would be a memory of something long ago, something that happened, something that I didn't know about, or an image or something like that. And it was like, okay, so there's, you know, there's some childhood stuff going on in here. And so then you sit with that. You not, you know, just be the observer. And then of course, you know, I always breathe because it almost happens when the emotion moves. You usually will breathe. It sort of does it on its own. You're just like, oh, yeah, oh, I feel like I can breathe again, or something like that. So you don't want to force that. You just allow it and let it move, and you'll feel better and better and better. I was going to say, I knew I had something that was going to come up. Like, it was funny, because Friday afternoon I was getting like anxious and excited at the same time, because I felt like I was going to have this huge movement. Can I say that? That sounds kind of funny. I was like, oh, something's ready to be released. What is it? You know, so I was like, you know, felt like I was borderline panic attack, but also excited. I'm like, I feel like I'm gonna be jumping out of an airplane without a parachute. It's like I knew I was excited and this was gonna be exhilarating, but it was also scary. But then, because I wanted to wait until I was not driving and I wanted to be in a safe environment, so I was trying to, delay it until I got home. There was no big kaboom, It was just like that. I had some emotions and they just kind of slowly trickled out. And I was not disappointed. That's not the word. It was just like, oh, hmm. I mean, definitely there was relief. Definitely I feel more at peace about that situation and everything like that. And it was like, wow, that was wonderful. It was wonderful that that energy moved. But sometimes we're so worried about, oh, don't go there, don't feel that, don't, can't feel that emotion right now, that we don't allow ourselves to just embrace it. And, so there's more struggle to keep it at bay than there is to feel it. And once again, I don't recommend doing it while you're driving, but if you can, do it when you're able to. So I had my music on, I was relaxed position. I was like, okay, I'm ready for this to happen now. And it didn't, like I said, it wasn't a big explosion. It wasn't a big, jarring thing, but there were quite a few emotions that were able to come up, be seen, be heard, be validated by me, by myself, and then they moved on, and it's like I felt so much better, felt so more relaxed, and I felt tired too. Sometimes when you're moving, doing these processes, you're gonna feel tired, but don't fight that either. Anytime that we think that we have to do something, it's like, we're trying to be on other people's schedules, or we're trying to, it's like, no, live your life, do your processes. Being in tune to yourself is the most important thing you can do, right? Because you're filling yourself up first. Airlines always say, put your mask on first, because when you fill yourself up first, now you're better able to deal with other people. Now you're more secure in your vibrations. So when you're dealing with other people and their vibrations, you're not going to join in, right? The masses. That's how the masses work. That was like, oh, it's like everyone's going crazy, so then everyone goes crazy, right? But if you're solid and you're secure in your vibrations, usually that means you're up here and everyone else is down here. And you don't have to worry about what's going on down there. Just worry about you. Now, having said that, if it's family members or a crying baby or this or that, you will have to deal with it. But if you're doing this and they're doing this, that's not going to help the situation either. That's when it's like throwing fuel on a fire, as I always say. So you just find your calmness. Abraham-Hicks says, get into the vortex first and then, find your center and then find your grounding and then, then help those other people. Put your mask on first and then help everybody else. So that's what the process of letting go really can help you do as you get used to it, because then you're just sitting. Once you get those deep repressed emotions out, oh, it's so exciting what he describes about how, he did this and he just lives in this ecstasy, ecstatic vibration. And he said he was just, he detached from who the person David was, and he was just this, all sensory being, and he was just living at this level, and then he realized that he needed to kind of reconnect with himself so he could be of service to other people and explain this to them. But he said it was a hard choice because he was just so delightfully, blissfully, zoned out. He's like, no, we need to come back and show people how to do this, and be around people. But so letting go, once again, very good book, highly recommend it. Chapter 2 describes the process, but once again, the process really is as easy as, I have this emotion. What is it? And it's not so much labeling the emotion. Sometimes we think too much about it. It's like, how am I feeling? Am I this? No. Am I this? No. It's, that's still in your head. It doesn't really matter the emotion. Just focus on the emotion. Don't try to label it. Don't try to figure it out. Don't try to think it out. Don't try to do any of that. Just really just sit with it and let it flow. And then it'll flow from you. It'll flow away from you. It'll float away. It'll just, and you'll have this sense of peace when you go through the process. So then anytime you have something trigger you, I have a I was going to say cohort, but that's not the word. It was like comrade, anyway, my friend. I have a friend. And we talk about, she's like, oh, that girl triggers me so much. And I'm like, the reason they trigger you is because you see something in them that you're not allowing in yourself to come forth. So think about that. Someone's triggering you, someone's irritating you, someone's, I just was listening to an Abraham thing about how if you have buttons, if anyone's out there can push your buttons, it's not their fault. You're the one who has the buttons. So all of that is just a sign to let you know that you have these emotions that are ready to be released, ready to be dealt with. And that person is the angel who's bringing it out in you. So, hello, Pooja. Hi, honey. So if something's triggering for you, if you're jealous of someone or if you're angry at someone, all of that is just letting you know that those are the emotions that are ready to be dealt with. And those are the emotions, that could be keeping you from whatever it is that you want. So if someone's triggering you because they're more successful than you are, or they got the raise, or they're driving that car that you want, or something like that, that's your clue to tune in to that emotion and sit with it and rest with it and allow it to work its course and to work itself out, because that's the anchor that's keeping you from moving up to that next level. Does that make sense? And how easy is that? How wonderful is that? That's all we have to do. Once again, I was just watching this Abraham thing, and she says the harder we try to do something, the more we're literally resisting it. And Dr. Hawkins has a line in there. He says, thoughts are resistance. So the more you're thinking about something, you are literally resisting it that much more. And then whatever we resist persists. So if here you are trying to think thoughts, or even like, that's one of the Abraham-Hicks things, I'm not going to think that thought that I'm not supposed to be thinking. You're thinking it. The book I'm referring to is Letting Go. by Dr. Hawkins. I don't have it here in front of me, but here what I'll do is I'll put an image in the it's called Letting Go, The Pathway of Surrender by Dr. David R. Hawkins. I started reading this last week and I finished. And I talked a little bit about it in last week's video, but last week's video kind of didn't work for me very well. I had bought a new microphone and I just want a picture of this. Let's see. Just give me 1 second. So now I'm going to comment. Oh, I can only do pictures. I mean, stickers. I can't do a picture. I'll post the picture once the live video's over so you can see what I'm talking about. But the book is Letting Go, The Pathway of Surrender by David R. Hawkins. So, and then so that's the book I'm referring to. Letting Go, The Pathway of Surrender by David R. Hawkins. And like I said, once this video is over, I'll post a picture of it so you can look it up. I will say I will also post in the group a link to a YouTube videos where they actually, it's the audio, it's the book in audio. So they're reading it to you. So if you don't have time to read the book yourself, you can listen to the audio. What I actually did was I listened to the audio while having the book in front of me, and that way I was able to keep myself on point and on task and finish the book in a week. Because sometimes, I don't know if you're like me, but I'll sit down and I'll read a book and I'll fall asleep, or I'll get distracted and I'll end up reading the same line over and over, or, you know, it's like, what was that noise? Oh, the dog's barking. Oh, there's, you know, just got a text, you know, all those little outer stimuli that we get. So having the headphones where the YouTube video was reading it to me while I had the book in my hand, and I set the audio of YouTube at the same pace that I read. So I don't know if you know that you can do that. You can go to the settings, and it was like, it's called playback speed. So I think most of them have that. Anyway, so I was able to listen to it. I think it was like 1.5 or 1.7 times the normal speed, and so it was just, I was able to just read right through it, and it was wonderful. I really enjoyed it. So, and I also felt like I was getting it, you know, 2 different ways, because I was seeing the words and hearing it and reading it, and, you know, so I really feel like I got it. Sometimes when we feel like we read a book too fast, it's like I didn't get any of it, but I think I I feel like I really got it. So that's my goal. I'm going to be reading 5 books in 5 weeks. The next book that we're reading is the Sophia Code. I just got it yesterday. I haven't delved into it. I will let you know next week how it goes. It looks pretty interesting. The introduction, our poor author went through some stuff, and so that was kind of hard to read, but supposedly because of everything that she went through, she had this, she calls it, is actually a channeled message book, and it's called the Sophia Code. So I'll talk about that next week, and I'll keep you posted on what I think about that. But let me know if you're reading any books that are changed your life. Let me know if there's something that you're interested in. The other book that I was starting to read is The Success Principles by Jack Canfield. And I started to read Jack Canfield. I just got the Sophia Code because that's what I'm reading with my mastermind group. And then I was listening to, which one was I listening to? The Dr. Joe Dispenza's Placebo Effect. Oops. Albums. Oh, Becoming Supernatural. How common people are doing the uncommon. So Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about all these things about changing our vibration, and he's actually scientifically monitoring it. So we really, just by meditating, just by doing these letting go processes, just by, you know, accepting the power that we are able to do this, people are having miraculous healings, miraculous shifts in their life, and all that kind of stuff. So this stuff is real. This stuff is wonderful. Let me know if you have any experiences with anything. Let me know if you want me to go deeper on any of these topics or any of these books. And let me know if you're interested in reading them with me. We can do a little book club going on. So, do you have any questions that you would like me to talk about before I go? I'm trying to keep these videos shorter. They always end up being kind of long. So hopefully it's not too long, but if you're here with me, let me know if there's something you would like to talk about specifically that we can go through. And if not, then take a drink while I think of something. I was going to say, I thought there was one more thing I wanted to mention. I want to talk about the process of letting go, my experience, how it was kind of, you know, I thought it was going to be a big shift, but it was just easy and delightful. And you know, no matter what you're up against, no matter what you're dealing with, all those traumatic experiences, all those things that we're too afraid to feel, just allow yourself to feel it. What I guess I put on music. Hi, thanks. Aw. So when you're in that vibration, Kirsten, hopefully I said that right, it's just because, well, I don't want to say just because. It could be because there's some limiting beliefs that are holding you back from who you are really meant to be. So I really want you to sit with that. And I have lots of processes. I have lots of this. Let me know if there's anything I can help you with directly. But honestly, you're in that vibration. It's a low vibration, and normally we're in that vibration because we're trapped in victimhood. We've been repressing our feelings for so long because that's all we know how to do. So we're depressed. We're depressed, repressed, trapped, stuck. Just we feel like there's no way out. So then you just have to tell yourself that you are the creator of your reality. And if you can hold the feeling of freedom for 5 minutes today, and then try for 6 minutes tomorrow, and then 10 minutes the next day, and you literally, as I was just going to show you, go onto YouTube, because I think that's all I use. I don't have an iPhone or anything like that. I go to YouTube and I listen to the, I don't know if you'd be able to see that. Oh, no, you can't see it at all. That's terrible. Anyway, look for the megahertz music, or even this one just says full body healing, shining aura, restore healthy light, remove block energy. That's the title of the song or the music, and it's 3 hours long. And so I will put that on and I will just zone out to it. And like I said, just find some feelings that feel good to you in your head, in your mind. You can do this before you fall asleep if you're too busy during the day. You know, just find that time for you where you can find the peace. And first of all, just as what I'm talking about today, find the emotion that is the loudest. I don't know when you jumped on, it doesn't tell me, but our emotions are like crying babies, right? So you just want to sit with the baby who's the loudest, and all you're trying to do is just hold that baby. So if it's depression, just hold that baby and just say, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. And then once that emotion is soothed, it will actually float away. And then there may be another emotion that comes up underneath it. Usually, I'll have to say, under depression is usually anger, because especially as women, we're not told we can't get angry. If, usually, oh, she's out of control, oh, she must be on her period, or, whatever. So we're so conformed to not being able to be angry, so we just repress it, and now we get depressed. So if anger comes up next, once again, just hold the crying baby, and you just want to soothe it and hold it. You're not trying to change it, you're not trying to address it, you're not trying to fight it, you're not trying to do anything with it except for just feel it until you take a deep breath, until you yawn, until you cry, because all of those are a sign of the energy moving. And so then once that one moves out of the way, there may be another one, and it may be guilt, shame, and that's another thing women have. I mean, actually, yes, women, but everybody pretty much. But I would say women a lot more. There's a lot of guilt in there, a lot of shame in there, shame about, our bodies, about our jobs, about this, about that. There's so much shame. Shame literally is the lowest frequency. It's a 30. Whereas happiness is 500. Shame and guilt are 30 and 40. Depression's right there, just 50 or 60 or something like that. So if you think of that as a freeway, and the fast lane's going 500 miles an hour, and they're happy, and you're going 30, that's why it's scary. That's why life feels out of sorts. That's why it's like you're not going with the natural pace of life, and so it's hard. Everything feels hard. Everything feels scary. But it's because you're holding on to these lower vibrations because that's all you know. You're doing the best you can. So understand that and love yourself for it. Love yourself for being aware of it, right? So you just feel that emotion one by one in the privacy of your own home, right before you go to bed, whenever you can, and then hold, and then once those, you know, you can get through those emotions as best as you can. Sometimes you won't be able to. You may get stuck on one and you'll be like, okay, well, now here, great, now I'm stuck in grief. What do I do with grief? I can't get moved through grief. If you feel like you're there for more than 10 minutes, just, you know, start thinking about something happy. Think about puppies. Think about a basket full of kitties. Think about bunnies. Think about, you know, flying a kite, thinking about ice cream. I mean, just literally, you want to shift your energy to something that feels good as best as you can. And then you hold those feelings for as long as you can. Like I said, 5 minutes today, hopefully 6 minutes tomorrow, 10 minutes the next day. Don't compare yourself to anybody else. This is your life. We're all on our own schedule. We're all on our own time frame. When we get comparisonitis, and I'm guilty of that too, you know, when we compare ourselves, oh, how come they're doing so much better than I am, you know, but that's, I don't, like I said, I don't know when you jumped on, but that was another thing. It's like all that's telling you is you have that within you. You have that frequency within you that you see in others. So if you admire something about somebody, you have that in you. If you hate something about somebody, you have that in you too. And then you get to decide how to soothe that crying baby. Just a moment by moment, one day at a time, one emotion at a time. Don't overthink it, because our thoughts are resistance. You know, there's that saying, a picture's worth 1,000 words. Well, an emotion is worth 1,000 thoughts. So you just want to focus on the emotion. Don't worry about, oh. So, okay, so you have a lot of things going on right now. So the first one, I bet you there's a ton of grief. A ton and ton and ton of grief right there. If you haven't given yourself the time to mourn properly, and honestly, and Dr. Hawkins in the Letting Go book that I was just talking about, he says if we can feel these feelings without resistance, without judgment, without fear, it literally should only take 20 minutes. So I'm not saying you can get over the fact that your mom has passed away in 20 minutes. That is not what I'm saying. But I'm saying if you can feel the grief of it, allow yourself, close the door, put on the megahertz music, and just grieve. And for 20 minutes, don't set a timer, but grieve and feel the loss and miss her and love her and send her all the thoughts that you possibly can until you start thinking of happy memories. It'll happen. And then next time you get sad, do it again. You know, we just cry until we laugh, right? So I'm so sorry for your loss. So sorry for what you're going through. That is the worst. And I want to help you through this. So please take my love and my support for what you're going through, okay? I'm totally here for you. I am not minimizing it. I want you to feel safe and supported and loved right now, okay? Because you are. I am sending you love and healing thoughts. So I am with you. So, and I want you to know, honest and truly, she's right there with you. And what you're feeling, and this, I don't know if this will help or not, but when so we're in these physical bodies on this physical planet, in this in a physical realm, and when someone leaves the physical and they go into the non-physical, it's the distance that we think is there that's causing the pain. But if you just tell yourself, she's still right here with me, you can, and until you believe it, until you feel it, until you allow it to come through, she is right there with you. You can feel her, not with the 5 senses, but with the 6th sense and the 7th sense and the 8th sense and all those other senses, and tell yourself, she's still right here with me. She's holding my hand, she's rubbing my hair, she's with me, and you will feel it, you will feel her love. So then, but give yourself that time to feel the grief, and then see what else comes up. There may be, I don't know, there might be guilt under there. We always feel guilty. Did I do everything I could have? Was there anything I could have done? So just let that come out. Let whatever else, comes up. Anger. We're angry a lot of times. Why did they leave us? So be okay with however you feel. Do not judge it, but just let it run its course and let it flow, and hold on to each emotion for as long as it needs to be held. Does that make sense? Does that help? Because deal with that one first, because that's kind of why all the rest of them, one huge thing like a loss like that will throw the rest of everything off off. So yes, so heal that first, and then you go with the next one. So you're missing opportunities and relationships and everything, and that's because, well, I'm just basing this off of what you've told me, so to give giving you my best interpretation, please understand that I'm doing my best, okay? So when we have missed our opportunities and we're relationships and we feel like our life is going wrong, speaking from experience, it's because most of the time our inner being wants us to move to the next level, but we're not allowing it. Does that make sense? So your life is being upheavaled and everything seems like everything's going wrong because your inner being has already moved on to that next level, that next phase, that project that you're trying to get to. We think we're here and we want to be there. Well, our inner being's already there and we're still holding on to this, and that's why nothing's going right over here. So just by letting go of these emotions and understanding yourself and understanding what it is that you really, really want, without judgment, without getting in the way, without fear, letting go of those emotions, you'll start being able to observe better what's happening around you. And it's that observance, it's being able to step back and take a look at your life from the broader perspective. Sometimes you can only do that in meditation. Sometimes you can do that by journaling. Sometimes you can do it by scripting. Sometimes you can do it, all those, but any and all of those means, whatever feels good to you. If you want some more information on that, let me know in the chat, because I talk about all that stuff, and that's what we do here. So, so when you feel like you're at a loss, when you feel like everything's spiraling out of control, one of the best things to do, one, deal with the emotions, just the emotions. Two, start making a list of what feels out of control. Because get a blue pen and white paper and just make a list. And just start writing it down, getting it out. Because just by doing that, you're focusing. You're focusing your intention, and you're saying things that I want to get control of, things I feel like I don't have control of that I want control of. However you want to title it, and then just start writing it all down. And it'll turn into a checklist. It's like, okay, well, that's taken care of. I don't need to worry about that. That's done. Just start writing everything down. I need to pick up the dry cleaning. I need to go to the grocery store. I need to get over, this panic attack. I need to, clean my house. I need to get a job. I need to, just literally no specific order. Just start writing them down. And when you see them on paper, you're getting them out. You're calming your mind down because you're focusing on an action, which is writing it down. And you're also dealing with the emotions as they come up. So it's a twofer. Does that make sense? And I know it's the last thing you probably feel like doing. So that's why I'm saying first things first, get your headphones, turn on some healing music, and just sit with the pain, sit with the emotions, sit with the grief, cry it out, and then after a little bit, after a while, get up the courage to start writing a list. You can even write a letter to your mother and saying, how could you leave me? How could you do this to me? Be angry if that's what comes out. Don't edit yourself. Don't judge yourself. Don't say, oh, I can't be mad at her. If that's how you feel, that's how you feel. And I'm not saying that's how you feel. I'm just saying sometimes when they leave us, we're like, So just go ahead and work with it. And allow yourself to move through the emotions. If you have a problem with that, I know sometimes when we're crying, we can't feel, we can't do this. A quick thing is to just hold your hand around your wrist, because we have all of our nerve endings in our hands. We have pressure points in our wrist, and just by doing that, it can stop an anxiety attack. It can help, it'll help focus your intentions, once again, your mind, your thoughts, and you just focus on holding that and taking a deep breath. So so if you're somewhere where you can't start listening to music and working through the emotions, but you feel out of control, just hold your wrist. Okay? Another thing that you can do is the little technique where you just, it kind of looks like you're just putting your hair behind your ear, but you just go on the left side, you talk about what you don't want, and it's a tapping point, but you can just do your, 3-4 fingers in your hair in case anyone's watching and you don't want people to draw attention to yourself. You just talk about what you don't want. I don't want to feel sad. I don't want to feel out of control. I don't want to feel like I'm missing opportunities. I don't want lousy relationships. I I don't want my mom to be gone. I don't want, whatever. So just start listing the things that you don't want, and then make sure, this is important, you want to do it on the right side of how you want to feel. This is what you do want on the right side. So then you just start saying, I do want to feel peaceful. I do want to feel love. I do want to feel happy again. I do want to feel in control of my life. I do want to feel loved. I do want to feel connected. I do want to feel, empowered. I do want to feel in control. Whatever. Just keep listing it. Okay? So left side, what you don't want, you can take it out. Right side is what you do want. This is what you're putting in. Okay? And if no one's around, you can tap. It's called the temporal tap by Don Eden. But if someone's around, it's always nice because you can just play with your hair. No one really notices when you're playing with your hair, right? And so then you're just, right side is what you do want, left side is what you don't want. Okay? So do those couple of things. Keep me posted for sure. Let me know if those help. I'm here for you. I go live on Mondays, but I'm always, playing in the group and everything like that. And you can also private message me if you need to. Okay? So I hope that helps. So sorry for your loss. I'm so grateful that you were here today. Hopefully, I set an intention that those who needed to hear me today, I would say the right thing to them. So hopefully that's what you needed to hear. Hopefully I was able to help give you some sort of hope or relief or something. So again, please let me know if there's anything. You've got this. It doesn't feel like it, but it will, as long as you just keep trying. Okay? So, once again, I'm live Mondays at 10 a.m. Central Time, so I don't know where you are. I'm so grateful that you were here today. Please, please, please keep me posted. Please. And let me know if there's anything else I can do to help. So, in the meantime, for everyone else, let's send Kirsten loving, healing, wonderful thoughts. And Pooja and Nadiem, thank you guys for being here and interacting with me. I love that you guys are all here. We're all in this together. My love and thoughts are with you guys. In the meantime, let's follow our bliss, live our passion, and create our success. Life is what we make it. So let's make it magical, wonderful, beautiful. You have the power. I learned a new word this weekend. It's called creatrix. And it's the female creator. It's like, oh, creatrix. So you guys are the creatrixes of your life. And always, always, always remember that you deserve a life full of love, magic, and miracles. I love you so much. Thank you for being here. Keep me posted, Kirsten. I'm here for you. Let me know how I can help, okay? All right. Love you guys. Bye.